Hello, everyone. Freedom on the road, pressure on the mind. Yes, freedom on the road when you're doing ride sharing. It's freedom on the road because as the driver, you know where you're going, and if you don't know where you're going, you learn different ways to get where you're going due to the back roads, and the back roads are amazing because it allows you to avoid rush hour traffic, avoid most collisions, hiccups, and that makes you seem like an expert to the customer. The reason that it's pressure on the mind, though it's freedom on the road, is because you still got to get from point A to point B. And something simplistic as a ride share opportunity can end in a positive way, but on the other side of that positivity is a negative way. So one has to always keep that in mind. You just can't be entitled and think, well, hey, I'm gonna get this person where they need to go, and there's nothing that's going to prevent me. In fact, I would advocate one to have that in mind, to be proactive of the things that can possibly go wrong. It can be something starting simple with a safety issue. Now, with some of the rideshare apps, they say you can't really have any kind of weapons. So you really just like praying to your maker, or whatever God you believe in, that this person is not going to act like a Romulan, to be on their best behavior. Um, and then the other thing that you have to be mindful about, though you have freedom on the road, pressure on the mind, is that sometimes there's things in the road and there's so many different things going on as a ride share driver with the client in the vehicle or about to get in the vehicle. It's just, antennas have to be up. Sometimes there's things in the road, depending on where you live, like in the DFW area, depending on where you're at, a deer can run out, foxes can run out, well, not squirrels, but rabbits. Things can be in the road, such as cones, piece of wood, nails, and this is on a sunny day. I'm not even talking about the change of the day, like if it's nighttime. As we know, those that have done rideshare or that are currently doing rideshare, depending on the time of the hour you're doing it, there's more things that can get in your way. But I say it's freedom on the road because also you get to choose your hours. You can choose the neighborhood that you go in. So that's freedom on the road. Like you can control that. In fact, you can even control who you allow in your back seat. In the way that you do this, depending on the app that you're using, the rideshare app, you just you can modify the settings to what area you want to be sent to pick up folks. Now, even then, you still got to be cautious because just because you go to what's deemed, air quotes, a good area of the city or wherever you live, that don't mean the person ain't gonna be on any shenanigans and be on some different type of time. Now, the best way to continue to have freedom on the road and avoid the pressure on the mind, in my experiences, caveat in my experiences, is you go to the airport. If you go to the airport, it's like a 85% to 90% chance that if you're picking up somebody from the airport, they're usually just trying to get to their destination safely. They're either coming in to see family, coming in for some kind of event or business, or just left the DFW area and coming back to pick up some belongings. But that's the safest route, and that's freedom on the road because they will spark. Sometimes they will spark a conversation with you. Other times they will just rest. Other times they'll be doing business deals, or they'll be wanting to converse about current events, or they would like to listen to different kinds of music. And it may be music that you're not used to listening to. But that's the beauty of having freedom on the road with pressure on the mind. And pressure is not a bad thing. Pressure, in my opinion, is just a perspective thing. because pressure always starts with one puts on him or herself. And it's almost like, pressure just to be consistent and do a good job for the client and for yourself. Because, like I always say, even when the client is not in your back seat or in your front seat, for those that have more than one party, or those that like people sitting in their front seat, it's no guarantee, you know. It's no guarantee on how you can affect the person and change their life. Because the client can get into your car, and even though you have freedom on the road, they can have pressure on the mind. And then that's when you, as a rideshare app driver, as a contractor, you listen to what they got to say. Sometimes they may be telling you about family. Sometimes they may be telling you about a former lover or current lover or their significant other or their kids. Or they may even try to talk politics. They may say, can you believe this? Can you believe that? Or they may inquire about DFW if it's their first time there. So anyone that does rideshare or thinking about doing rideshare, maybe for a short time or a long time, understand that there's a lot of freedom on the road, but there could also be pressure on the mind. And when I say pressure on the mind, this is mainly a perspective thing, because all pressure is not negative. Now there were times when I was doing rides with the rideshare apps, and I was asked, "Hey, do you ever feel any pressure?" And I was like, "No." And my back story to not really feeling any pressures because it's my vehicle. I know how it works, and when a client would get out my car, it's still just me and everyone else on the road. So the things that I would use prior to doing rideshare, I just continue to implement them when I had someone in my car. Now, this is the thing. It was freedom on the road, pressure on the mind, because it's like doing customer service. Just making sure the client is comfortable in the back seat. They may want AC on. They may want the window down. They may want you to drive faster. And depending on where you at, you may could speed up or you may not. But because you're dealing with different personalities. And since you're dealing with different personalities, a client can say, hey, don't worry about it, take your time. Or there's some that could be in a rush. Even if you pick them up from the airport, they can be in a rush. Jet lag, bad service on the airplane, bad food. You never know what an individual could be going through. But even through it all, one still has freedom on the road. I mean, it's not like working from home, but you still can set your own hours. So it's freedom in that. As a former rideshare driver, I always had the choice on who I wanted to allow in my backseat and do business with. And if I didn't feel comfortable, I would just cancel it. But overall, it was a good experience. And you all can let me know in the comments. Anyone that does rideshare in any capacity or is thinking about rideshare, just let me know. Even the individuals that do not do rideshare. If you was to do rideshare, do you think you would have freedom on the road? Do you think it would be pressure on your mind? And again, the pressure on your mind can be positive or negative. But yeah, I just wanted to bring you all that today. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully, you feel as though that it could help someone that you know. And if this video may not specifically help them or even yourself, feel free to click the link, grab the book. The book can help you stay motivated, help you persevere if you feel as though you're the only one going through something. For those individuals that internalize, for those people that have different communication styles that the majority of the masses do not understand, I think the book would definitely help you. Again, I just wanted to bring you all this video. I hope you all continue to have a great day, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.